Hello Hearties, it's Catherine here, and today I'm doing this video because I want to address a very common complaint that I hear from people as part of their sales process, and that is that potential clients say, yes, I'm going to work with you, or yes, I'm going to buy your program, and then they disappear. They don't book in, they don't go to the page to pay. They say, yes, I'm going to do it, and you don't get hold of them again, you don't hear from them again, and you don't know what's actually happened. So what I want to say to you today, the message here today, and it's a really important one that I want you to really hear and take on board, is this: that somebody might say yes to you, but until there has been an exchange of money, that yes is not really a yes, and they haven't fully committed psychologically. As I always say, a yes is not a yes until they have paid. Ever, you know, and I mean really, I mean ever. So often I have clients come to calls or they celebrate in the Facebook group and they say, yay, I'm so excited because I've just signed up a new client for my program. And the first thing I always ask is, have they paid you anything? And very often the answer is, no, they haven't paid me anything, but they're really excited for this reason or that reason, or this is the reason they couldn't pay. And I just think, okay, maybe. And 9 times out of 10, it falls through. So really want you to take this on board. A client is not a client, and a yes is not a yes until there has been an exchange of money between the two of you. And, you know, if you're not convinced by this, I just want you to pause and take a look and reflect on your own behaviour when you're in any sort of a buying situation, whether you're buying a product, whether you're buying a service from somebody. And just reflect, because I'm sure that you're probably a lot like me, you're probably a lot like most people, in that no matter how serious you think you are, and no matter how committed you might think you are to making a decision, that until there's been an exchange of money, there's always that bit of wiggle room. And the wiggle room comes into play. For example, you know, you might be sure, but you mention it to a friend, and the friend says, I worked with this amazing person on the same thing. I think you should work with her instead. Or you suddenly, you feel, you know, not real doubt, but you feel a little bit of doubt. So you decide to go online and Google what sort of results other people have had with this particular type of service or program, for example. And you start to find information that causes you to doubt yourself. Maybe you speak to your partner about it and your partner says, oh, you don't need help with that. You're doing fine on your own. And anyway, I can help you with this. You know, this is a quite common one that I come across sometimes. You might mention it to a colleague at work, and the colleague says, oh, I tried that once and it was a complete waste of money, just didn't work at all for me. So there's all these different ways that the doubt and the questions can start creeping in. And of course, if you haven't paid anything, that's your get out. You know deep down that there is a get out clause there because actually you haven't paid anything. And, you know, once you've paid, like you'll probably relate this to your own experience as well, once you've actually paid something, you know you're in. It's like psychologically you've made that commitment, and you're a lot more likely, and there's a principle here in sales as well around psychological consistency. You want to be consistent internally with your own actions, and so you're a lot more likely to defend your decision both against external people who might want to cause you to doubt, but also you're more likely to defend yourself against your own internal doubt and criticism about the decision. So altogether, you're just a lot more committed. And you know, as an example of this, when I worked in the travel industry, we're going back a long way now, but one of my earliest sales jobs was actually in the travel industry, and I was a specialist in round the world holidays, and we used to tailor make these holidays for people that would be in the multiples of thousands of pounds. That would be what the holiday cost. But all we used to ask the client was for a £75 per person deposit to secure that holiday. Now, of course, a person who is spending £20,000 on a holiday can afford to lose a deposit of £75 per person, right? But we knew that once the deposit was paid, psychologically they were committed. They were committed to going on the holiday, and they were committed to booking that holiday with us. And so, in terms of translating this for you and your business, this is as simple as when that client tells you that, yes, I'm going to go ahead, your job is to take a payment from them. Now, in some cases, you're going to take full payment, but in many cases, a deposit is going to be enough to do the job. A deposit to secure their commitment. And ideally, you want your deposit to be big enough to actually be to ideally represent a true commitment for the client. So when I'm selling my private one-to-one mentoring, the deposit to secure their place for mentoring is £500. And I do that because that's a big enough commitment that they are not going to change their mind about it. Like if they're paying the £500, they're fully committed financially as well as psychologically. But it doesn't have to be £500. I could choose to take a smaller deposit of £100, which somebody could afford to walk away from and lose, but it would serve the same purpose of actually getting that psychological commitment, which is so important. And so, the psychological commitment really in so many ways is just as important as the financial commitment. And so, there's probably a few questions that you have about, well, how do I take a deposit? And I'll cover those in a later video. But today, I would hazard a guess that for most of you, the most important thing you need to do is actually start asking. This starts with asking for a deposit. So great, I'm so excited that you're going to go ahead. The next step is to get you booked in. Before I do that, I just need to take a deposit from you of X amount to secure your place. And it's that simple. So next time a client says yes to you, make sure you ask for that deposit and let me know how you get on. Let me know how you go, because it removes so much of the stress and anxiety and worry about, and the confusion. I mean, let's face it, when somebody says, yes, I'm going to work with you, and then they don't book in, or they don't go and buy from you, or you don't hear from them again, it creates such a lot of confusion for you. And this is where running our businesses can start to be quite an unhappy experience at times, and it just doesn't need to be. So, let me know in the comments below. Like I said, next time a client says to you, yes, make sure you ask for a deposit straight away. Let me know how you get on with that. And if you'd like me to do a part 2 to this video and actually answer more detail about how to actually get the deposit from the client, if you've got any questions like that, again, fire away in the comments and I'll address those for you in a future one. And of course, I will be doing a live Q&A session inside the free Facebook group at Selling from the Heart community. So if you've got more questions about taking a deposit, come along and join me for that. I really look forward to supporting you further and answering any questions. So lots of love to you, and I look forward to seeing you soon for the next video. Bye bye.